Bake with us, Canada. This week's guest bakers are Sandy and Brittnay from Cake Empire in Stony Creek. And this week's recipe is for crumble cookies.
Welcome to another delicious episode of Baking for Change. Today we have two guest bakers here with us today. We have Sandy and Brittnay from Cake Empire in Stony Creek. First of all, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Very excited. I'm always excited. People hear me say I'm excited all the time because I love eating and I love to eat baking. So
don't we all?
So we're a good combination. I like making best friends with everybody that comes on because, you know, you make things that I love. So start out by telling us a little bit about Cake Empire.
Okay, so I started it as a hobby actually. I was doing it part-time out of my home like for many years, and then about 8 years ago I decided to open up a shop and just take it to the next level. And we opened up on Highway 8 years ago in Stony Creek, and then 3 years ago we moved to King Street where we are located now, and it's been an adventure ever since, so we're still riding it out.
Do you still love it even though it's not a hobby now? Because sometimes
I do.
Okay,
I
that's
do.
good. That's good.
I
I'm
do.
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
What's your role?
My role is just like I'm a baker. I help out her sister in baking and all that, and mainly I'm a decorator. I like to decorate like the cookies, cupcakes, do like the little fondant figures and all that stuff.
Yeah. So tell me about either a favorite thing that you bake or one of your most like challenging cakes that you've decorated.
Oh.
Can we name one?
What's your favorite thing to bake?
My favorite thing is like sugar cookies. I love
Okay.
just sitting there and decorating. It's very calming to me. I also love to make like the sculptures and all that for the cakes. It's very like fun to me. That's what I like to do a lot of the times.
Challenging, I think the most challenging one we had was like making a 3D Volkswagen like car.
Oh,
like
wow.
And
Okay.
it was like on a beach, so like the ocean with the sand. It was parked on the sand river. That one was probably the most challenging one.
Yeah. And can people find pictures? Like, are you guys on Instagram, Facebook?
We are, yeah. Our
Okay.
Instagram handle is Cake Empire _Inc. And we're also on Facebook as Cake Empire, and we have our website www.cakeempire.ca.
Awesome.
We're also very trendy. We are on TikTok also at Cake
Okay.
Empire.
Yeah.
We're
all there too.
That's true.
Oh,
This is
that's
why-
amazing.
This is why we
Lots
keep the
of-
younger girls around.
Yes, that sounds great. So hopefully for you at home, we've given you time to gather your ingredients if you're going to be baking along with us. So why don't you talk us through what we're making today and what ingredients we're starting with.
Okay, so we're gonna make a crumble cookie today. We find that the crumble cookie is very popular in our store, and I think it's popular like across the country really, because it's become a trend.
Okay.
You will see it on TikTok and other social media, Instagram. And so we're gonna start by, we've already pre-measured our ingredients. We're gonna start by taking our oil, our butter, our granulated sugar, and our powdered sugar, and we're gonna cream this together in the mixer using our paddle. And we'll start with that, and then we'll guide you through the rest.
Amazing. Here we go.
So we have half a cup of butter.
Okay, so half a cup of
bowl.
butter. Grab this spatula there.
And this was room temp.
Yes,
Yeah.
the butter. Yeah, the butter is room temperature. Yeah,
Get it all out.
I can scoop it out.
Now, if somebody forgets to leave it out for a bit, can you rush that a little bit?
You can rush it. You can pop it into the microwave for about 10-second intervals until it's a consistency that's kind of mushy like that. Once it's that mushy consistency, you know that it's soft, and that's all that you need to do. You don't have to actually melt it. Just keep it soft.
Okay.
So 10-second intervals. Everybody's microwaves are different, power levels,
Sure.
whatever. So until you get this mushy consistency. And the next ingredient we're going to put in is
a quarter cup of oil.
quarter cup of oil. This is just vegetable oil.
Okay. Is that a preferred type of oil to bake with?
A lot of people use vegetable oil, but
For most ingredients, yeah. Or you can use canola oil as well, yeah.
half a cup of sugar
Granulated sugar,
and
Excellent.
2 tablespoons of powdered sugar.
so just your regular icing sugar. And then, so I'm just gonna give it a little bit stir with my spatula in the bowl just to combine the ingredients before I put it on the mixer.
To prevent
that. So that's all it takes. You don't have, it doesn't have to be long. And then, oops, I'm not used to this mixer, sorry. So that it ends up, it looks like this when it's all combined. So it's just like a, okay,
yeah,
that consistency. It's very grainy from the sugar, but don't worry about that. And then our next ingredients that we're gonna add in.
We're gonna add the liquids. So we're gonna add 1 egg.
At room temperature as well.
Okay.
And there is a cheating way for that as well. If you didn't have time, if you didn't have time to take your egg out in advance, you can place it in warm, like lukewarm, not hot water. So like a little bowl with warm water. Place your egg in there for about just a few minutes, like 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Just keep the chill out.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
Great.
And that'll work. And then
2 teaspoons of vanilla.
UNICEF. The change part of the Baking for Change name means that in addition to baking yummy treats, you can also donate a little money to UNICEF Canada to help make change. The Baking for Change website has a direct link you can use to make a donation, and you can even ask for a tax receipt. There are lots of great charities out there, but we chose to support UNICEF Canada because when we were kids, we collected change for them in those little orange boxes every Halloween. Maybe you did too, and it still seems like the perfect fit for us, even if it's virtual now. Giving to UNICEF is a tradition. People like Elizabeth Montgomery, who played Samantha Stevens on Bewitched, Jim Henson and Kermit the Frog, and even the Brady Bunch supported UNICEF, and we think you should too. The United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, or UNICEF, was established in 1946 in the aftermath of World War II. Their mandate was clear: to help children and young people whose lives and futures were at risk, no matter what role their country played in the war. This is the DNA of UNICEF. From the ashes of war to the global challenges that affect millions today, their mandate has never wavered. UNICEF consistently works to protect the rights and well-being of all children, whoever they are, wherever they live. They've earned our trust and deserve your support.
And we're giving it another mix.
And yeah, another mix.
Right.
So I did use the spatula to stir it around again, so to prevent the explosion.
Yeah.
And then again on medium speed if you're using this type of a mixer. If you have a more powerful mixer, low speed will do. Okay. And just for a minute or so, not very long, just to combine those ingredients. So next we're going to add the flour. How many cups?
So we have, I believe, 2 cups of flour.
2 cups of all-purpose flour.
Are there some recipes that you prefer to use like a cake flour for? Or do you do a lot of all-purpose?
For cakes, you would use, you can use an all-purpose flour for cakes as well. You don't have to use a cake flour for cake, but it does help your cakes rise a little nicer.
Okay, that's the difference.
When you have a cake flour.
Okay, but this one's just all-purpose.
This one's all-purpose, and it's good for what we're doing today for the cookies. Spatula, please.
Catching the drips there.
Catching those
drips.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not appropriate yet for me to like start licking the
So I'm going to go ahead with our dry ingredients. So we're going to start with the 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then we're going to... We've added 3 ingredients into this little bowl. We have
a teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Okay, so you can just dump it in. And then again, I'm going to use the spatula first to get it all mixed in there. Prevent that.
Prevent that.
Yeah.
Poof.
Yes.
Now, I don't think I've made a cookie recipe before with cream of tartar. I think I've only used it in kind of meringue type things. So is it unusual to put it in a cookie
It
recipe?
it is unusual for a cookie recipe. This one's kind of special.
It helps with the baking powder. It helps it rise. It helps it like it makes a reaction in the dough, so it helps it make it more like fluffier and rises better.
Got it.
Because essentially these crumble cookies, they are like a sugar cookie, but much softer than a sugar cookie.
Okay.
But the same type of flavor and dough, but just in the end, you're gonna have like a softer, more crumble.
For the
type
record,
cookie.
I love sugar.
So again, same speed, like a medium speed if you're using this type of a mixer, low speed if you're using a powerful mixer. Most people at home have these types of mixers, so it would be a medium speed.
Okay. And what kind of a consistency are we watching for this time?
Like a spreadable kind of consistency. It's like kind of like butter. I kind of like to describe it as.
Okay. Okay.
It's
So we're
very
going to
soft.
be a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty crumbly.
Crumbly
right now.
at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna let this go on for a little bit, let all those dry ingredients incorporate with the wet ingredients.
So we've got the consistency you like, but just to bring our bakers at home up to speed, during the process you weren't totally happy with the consistency. You made a little tweak. Can you tell them about it?
Yeah, during the mixing a part of it, the ingredients weren't coming together as nicely as I would have liked it to. I like the final dough to look like a Play-Doh consistency, a little crumbly, but more like a Play-Doh, and that wasn't happening. It was a little too crumbly, so we just added a teaspoon of water to make it a little more wet and get those ingredients incorporated, the wet and the dry. And once we got this consistency here, like a Play-Doh consistency, that's where we stopped it and took it off the mixer.
Now we know why kids eat Play-Doh, because they probably think it's like cookie dough, right? Fun cookie dough. All right, so we're ready to get on to our next stage.
Next stage, yeah. So we're just going to use our portion scoop to scoop out the dough. You don't want it to be heaping over. You just want it to be level with that scoop, and scoop it onto your parchment paper lined onto your baking sheet. And once you've got your ball of dough there, you're going to take your fingers and just press it down with a medium pressure until you get sort of a flat, not completely flat, but flatten it down a little bit. And then continue doing that until you have no dough left. And
what if you have like a little bit of dough left? What do
you're
you
gonna
do if
have,
it doesn't work perfectly?
You're gonna have a small cookie.
Okay.
And those are the ones that we taste test.
Perfect.
It's my little snack for the time I'm baking. I'm like, oh, that's for me later.
Oh, that's perfect. Yes. Tell our bakers at home what we preheated the oven to. Did we say that already? I don't think
We haven't, yeah.
Okay.
So we do have our oven preheated at the moment to 350 degrees.
All right.
So once your oven is preheated, you can go ahead and place your cookie sheet in the oven, and it's in the oven for 12 minutes. 12 minutes.
So with these cookies, you want to keep them decently apart because they will spread a bit. You don't want them sticking together. So probably like an inch or two.
Keep a few inches
Yeah.
in between them, yeah.
All right, so now we get to bake. All you home bakers, we hope that you have been baking along with us, and we would love to see your photos. Take a photo and send it to contact@bakingforchange.ca. We might feature it on the show, on the website, on social media, so send in those photos today. So our cookies are in the oven baking, yay! And we're gonna work on the icing, frosting, what do you call it?
We are icing or frosting. It's really the same thing. But I do want to mention that you can frost or ice these cookies with any type of buttercream flavor. You would change the extract to change the flavor. We are going to actually do a creme brulee flavor. So the way that we're going to do it is going to end up looking sort of like a creme brulee on top.
Amazing.
And it has that creme brulee flavor as well. But again, you can change up your toppings on these cookies with you can use different buttercream flavors, different like sprinkles and any type of toppers like chocolate drizzles or caramel drizzles, anything you want really to top these cookies. But today we're gonna do creme brulee. So we're gonna start by creaming our wet ingredients. We're gonna start with our butter, pre-measured,
One cup.
1 cup.
1 cup
One
of
cup
butter.
of butter.
1 cup of shortening. And then you have just under half a cup of water. It's like slightly right like before the like line there.
Okay.
Just
Just
half.
under half a
Just
cup.
under. Okay.
Yeah.
And then 2 teaspoons of French vanilla extract.
Ah,
So
That's
this is
the
where the
key.
French vanilla comes in.
yes.
So the shortening, all-purpose shortening is what we typically use. It's usually a pure white color. Today we're using a golden shortening. No particular reason. It's what we had on hand. But if you at home have the white one, that's okay. So don't be afraid. That's gonna work.
That's good. Good to say.
And
'Cause I'd
actually-
be that person going, oh no, mine doesn't look like that.
Yeah, actually, if you want your icing to be pure white, you would have to use the because this is gonna tint your
Okay.
icing
Sure.
a little bit like an off-white, like a yellowish tinge. So you would want to use the pure white shortening if you want your icing to be white. So this is our water. You mentioned how much. And this is our French vanilla extract.
It's gonna make it taste like a creme brulee, like custard, because creme brulee is like that custardy French vanilla flavor.
Yeah.
So it's gonna give it that custard creme brulee flavor.
Speaking about the color of icing, isn't there like a clear vanilla extract for that purpose?
Exactly. So if you don't use a clear vanilla extract, again, it's going to tint your icing slightly, and you're going to have an off-white
Off-white
icing
instead of the bright white.
pure bright white.
See, look
So-
at me. I'm basically an expert.
So I'm just combining these ingredients a little bit. You can't really mix oil and water, but just so that it doesn't give us a splash when we start up the mixture. It's also important when you start up your mixer to not start it exactly at the speed you want it to. Most people know this, but start at the lowest speed possible so that you don't have that poof, and then slowly work your way up to the speed that you want. And we're just gonna do a speed 4 on this mixer, which is like a medium speed, just to get that water combined in there.
And you want that mixed in before you're adding your
We do. We
your
want
sugar,
this
your
all
icing sugar.
creamed together before we add in our icing sugar, which is the last ingredient. And how many cups do we have of icing sugar? Is it 4 cups?
It is
I believe it's 4 cups. Or no, 8 actually.
cups, yeah. 8 cups.
We did cut our recipe in half from what we use at Cake Empire. That's why we're having a hard time remembering. But we make huge, large batches of everything, obviously, at the store. And today we've cut it down, so we're trying to remember what we cut it down to. We cut it down to 8 cups. So 8 cups. This is actually going to give you a lot of icing. You're going to have leftover icing for the amount of cookies that you're getting out of that size recipe. So you could even cut this recipe in half as well if you don't want to have all this extra icing left over. Or you can double up your cookie recipe and have extra cookies. So now we have our wet ingredients all creamed together here. So this is what it looks like when it's all creamed together. So there's no more liquid separating from your butter and shortening. And so that's typically what you're looking for. And now we're gonna add in our powdered sugar, our icing sugar. I'm just gonna do it little bits at a time because we have such a large amount and our mixer bowl is not that large. So we're going to,
But if you have a bigger mixer, you can add it all in at once
You
because
can.
it does work. 'cause
Okay,
It will
okay.
do the same.
yeah,
so
but
more larger.
you would need a fairly large mixer bowl.
Yeah. So it's making me think of kind of mishaps. So those times where you do turn it on, you get the poof, but have you had any interesting mishaps or, baking errors along the way?
Oh, there's always
stories?
baking errors.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
always baking errors. We always, first of all, we're really bad at math, all three of us. So a lot of times when we're doubling up a recipe or tripling and we easily miscount something or
Okay.
miscalculate something.
And at what point do you realize? Like, have you ever
When
gotten
it's
all
too
the way?
late.
When it's too late.
We forgot an egg once and we made sugar cookies, and they were so hard, and we're like, why are they so hard? It's so weird. And then she's reading the recipe, and she's like, I didn't add the eggs. Oh my God.
Yes.
So just yeah, like skipping over an ingredient that like by accident or whatever.
So even the pros make mistakes. So if you make a mistake now and then, it's okay.
It's
part of the learning process.
Learning process every day. Every day. We learn something new every day. So you can sift your icing sugar. We didn't. For this particular, for what we're using it for, there's no need to. But if you find that your icing sugar has a lot of like clumps in it, you might want to sift it first.
It is fitting. Visually, when I saw that big bowl, I thought, I don't know if it's going to fit in there, but you're right.
Yeah, it dissolves into it.
Dissolve,
but if you do it all at once, yeah, it's in such a small bowl, it's not going to work for you very well. A lot of people make the mistake of cutting the bag way too high, and when you're squeezing, the bag actually stretches because it is plastic, and it will stretch. And what will happen if you cut it too high, after a certain amount of stretching, your whole entire tip will come right out along with your icing and make a mess on top of what you're decorating at that moment.
That could be one of those mishaps we talked about.
Exactly.
Yes,
I've done that before a few times.
So definitely when you cut the bag, you want to go close to the bottom of the tip and then just pull away the bottom, but you don't want to cut it up here. You want to make sure it's down, because as this stretches, you still have lots of room for this to move and not actually come right out.
Great.
And because this bag is so big, I'm going to fold it down a little bit just to make it easier to handle, and then just scoop your icing right into the bag until your bag is full, and then we'll start icing our cookies.
Yay! Goodie Goodie is a nonprofit bakery offering training and jobs for refugee youth. And here's some exciting news. If you visit our website, you can find the dates and times for our pop-up bakery, where you can stop in and buy some delicious treats for yourself and support a great cause. The location of our pop-up bakery is Community Christian Reformed Church on Bleams Road in Kitchener. So visit the website today. You at home know by now that we are getting very close to my favorite part of the show. Can you guess what my favorite part of the show is? Can you guess?
Maybe sampling?
That's it. Every time I'm like, can't wait. So our cookies are done. They're reasonably cool, cool enough to ice. So walk us through the next steps.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ice them, and then we're gonna do the creme brulee part, where we're gonna put sugar on it and torch it.
Ooh,
and make it
that's
nice and
fun.
crispy, and there's like a crunch.
Never done that.
Yes.
Brittnay likes to play with fire, so she's going to take over this one.
Amazing.
My favorite
and this
part.
massive.
Our massive icing bag.
Yep, love
so
it.
you can pipe any which way. You can do a blob. You can do, I like to do all around the cookie. Make like a little swirl kind of thing.
Yep.
If you have a spatula, you just smear it on any which way.
I like options. Yep.
If you have a piping bag, hold it at a 90-degree angle, and you'll get the best results.
Amazing. I'm already, like, I'm salivating. Oh, I was also asking them about some of their cupcake flavors that they have at the store. You have up to 60 flavors, not at one time.
We have over 60 flavors.
18 at a time?
18 daily are available in the store.
If you haven't been, you need to go to Cake Empire. What's your address?
It's 70 King Street East in Stony Creek, in the downtown area of Stony Creek.
And like sample, like get one of every flavor and sample them. Yeah. And send us a picture. We'd like to see it.
You can't miss us. You can smell us from down the street when we're baking.
Yeah.
Well,
The smell brings
I'm going to be
people in.
coming. I have a kid that lives in Hamilton, so that's not too far. So yeah,
Perfect.
I'll come sample.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to add any type of sugar. We use granulated sugar because it's the easiest.
Yes, granulated would
Everybody
be,
has it.
yeah.
It's kind of classic. So you just like sprinkle it on top like you would a creme brulee.
And you can be generous with it.
Yeah, pretty generous because it's going to melt and make that crunch for you.
Oh my goodness. This is amazing. Are
The
you
anticipation.
anticipating? I know. It's like waiting.
Waiting for the fun part.
Waiting for the fun part. I kind of feel like we're using almost like a power tool.
Okay.
Kind of. Looks that way.
So
anyhow.
we have our blowtorch. We just click it and then you just pop it on sometimes. There it goes. And then you just torch your cookie until the sugar starts to melt and caramelize.
Oh my goodness.
So with these, you got to kind of be careful with the icing. The icing will melt if you get it hot. So you just got to try and aim on the sugar in a way.
And don't light your cookie on fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
wait
that's
till
gonna
you
be
get
delicious.
that caramelized, burnt looking
Yeah.
color on top, and it starts to bubble, and then that's when you know your sugar is basically melted. But
That's
again, you don't want to
amazing.
melt your icing.
I love how it makes little patterns when you're
Right?
doing it.
It's really nice.
Can't wait to see the others. Oh goodness.
Don't
Try
It's
not to
powerful.
do that. It's very
Try not to get the
No, I
parchment
know.
paper.
You know, I did ask earlier if things ever happen in the kitchen, so this is
There you
proof.
go.
They do. Yeah,
Make sure your smoke detectors are working.
that's right. It's making a different pattern. I love it. See, I think you should add this to your Christmas wish list. You know, we're coming up to that time of year where you start making your list, where you start shopping. So if you want to make these at home, you need to ask for one of these butane blowtorches.
Good job, Brittany.
Yes. Performing under pressure. We're all watching. So cool. If you're watching with your children, maybe you don't want them to see this part because they're going to be like, let me try. It might not be a great thing for
No,
kids.
it's not
No.
a child-friendly
No.
usage for
No.
sure.
Maybe we just
Yeah.
stick to sprinkles for the children.
Yeah.
You know, icing and sprinkles, and let
Definitely.
them help with that.
Definitely.
Not the torch.
Exactly. Leave the torch to the professionals.
That's right.
Alright.
Yeah.
we
So
have-
once that has a chance to cool down, this one should be cool by now. It should have a nice like crispy. Yeah. I don't know.
Ooh,
You
okay.
probably can't hear that at home, but
Yeah,
it's got
yeah.
a nice.
Like a little snap or crack.
Yeah, like
yeah.
almost like a glass. Okay, so yeah, Wendy, are you gonna be the first sampler?
I'm happy to. I guess I feel bad if you can't join me, but you gotta let the other ones cool a little bit.
You gotta let them cool, but that's
Okay.
okay. We know what they
Okay.
taste like, so we're gonna let you go at it.
And this one looks, like a question mark, so I wonder what it's gonna taste like. I'll tell you in a second. No pressure, and this is big. Good
Yeah,
thing I have
this
a
is
big mouth.
You can make them any size you want, but we like to go big. Go big or go home. Now, is the flavor big?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love a sugar cookie. And with the frosting and the
Perfect.
Once I finish chewing, I want to say thank you both, Sandy and Brittnay from Cake Empire, for coming and sharing this amazing recipe with us today. Please be sure to stop by their store, have a visit, try 18 cupcakes, some cakes, cookies, cheesecake, all the things. Try all the things. But thanks again.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks for watching, and see you next week on Baking for Change. Special thanks to Wendy Pauls and Sandy and Brittnay from Cake Empire and Community Christian Reformed Church.